Well, thank you, Dr. Richardson, and thank you, everybody, for coming out today. I'm really excited to share this interesting life experience of our speaker today, Paige Lilly. Let's give her a round of applause. So I've been lucky enough to interview Paige a couple times before, and one thing that I have learned is she is a perfectionist, all right? So that's a common theme that you're going to hear throughout today. She was the recipient of the Outstanding Student Award for Management Marketing here at Penn State Lehigh Valley. She was also our commencement speaker for her graduating class, and today she just happens to be on a national level championship and competes against the best bodybuilding athletes in the nation. That deserves a round of applause. As an International Federation for Bodybuilding competitive bikini athlete, Paige has established herself as an up-and-coming professional athlete, but her journey was not an easy one. In fact, Paige has been competing all of her life. As a child, she began competitive horseback riding at the age of 4. She was sought after as the rider who would win competitions for owners wanting to show off their horse's unique style and gait. Once in private school, she competed daily for her voice and for peace because she struggled with bullying. At college, she found solace in fitness and chose to become competitive in the world of bodybuilding, where, of course, she not only excelled, but found an entrepreneurial path to health and wellness. So, Paige, you really enjoy motivating others. How do you do it? How do you work up to that level?
Well, for me, motivation is having a goal in mind and having not necessarily an end result, but just something to work towards. So like with the horses, with competing, it was, that feeling of being called to the center of the arena, getting that first place prize, like, seeing the ringmaster pin the ribbon on your horse's bridle, watching the roses be draped over you, taking your victory pass and feeling like the rush, feeling that power underneath you from that horse. And they knew they won. They would go down the arena, the rail, and it made you feel like $1 million. And it was a crazy, awesome feeling. It was the ride back to the barn, and your trainer's smiling from ear to ear, and looking at you like, yeah, you did it, kid. You did a good job. And the owner was so proud because you just won the class for them. And the endless cookies that you give the horse because they did so well. But when you lost, though, it was that motivation to get back in the arena, and you knew what you needed to do for the next time to get better. And the same thing with bodybuilding, like it was hitting that stage and those bright hot lights on your face and that rush that you got, and being called, to win the overall award. And when I won my pro card, like the feeling was crazy. And it was just knowing like the hours and hours of dieting and cardio and exercise and all those days. Oh my gosh, you remember all that craziness? But it was this is my mom, by the way.
Hey.
But it was those, all the hours of work that you put into it that finally paid off and made it completely worth it. But again, like when you lost, it was going back to the drawing board and figuring out what you needed to do to get better. And even when you won, it was not being satisfied with winning. It was constantly getting better because the person who got second place, they were going to be on your butt, to beat you next time. So I guess I would say it's having that goal and the vision, and when you're lacking motivation, understanding that you have to go back to the drawing board. For me, it's going back to the drawing board and redefining my goal is to be more motivated, And for Fresh View Fitness, it's seeing the clients do so well and reaching their goals, and they'll text me and they'll be like, oh, I lost 5 pounds this week. I'm like, that is the best thing ever, because I felt like I won, because I'm helping them achieve their goals, and it's a great feeling. So that's how I stay motivated, is just having a goal and chasing that goal constantly.
Well, your face just lights up when you talk about your horses, doesn't it? I mean, I think we can all see that. And ride it competitively. Do you think that groomed you for taking risks and maybe even being judged later in life?
For sure. I mean, the horses, like, they taught me everything I knew. That's my Bruce. He actually died this summer, right before my pro competition. So if I like talk about him and start like the tears start streaming down my face, like that's my horse. Like he was my everything. He was my best friend. But yeah. So I mean, they taught me everything. They taught me like dedication and determination and.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
It's okay to cry.
And persistence and to never give up. And even if I was like totally terrified, scared to death, just go for it and just, go out there and plaster a big smile on my face and just, even if I had no confidence in myself, just go out there because for 4 minutes, like that's all I had, all that work and all that, those hours and hours and hours and days and years of work, like you had 4 minutes to show it all off, in the horse world, like in the arena. In competition and bodybuilding, you had 10 seconds. So you had 10 seconds on stage. You prepped and dieted for 16 weeks. You had 10 seconds to give it all, and you better bring it because it's over before you know it, and you're gonna have a lot of regrets when you walk off that stage. You're gonna say, oh man, I wish I would have posed harder. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. But yeah, they taught me to just go for it, and the competition. I grew up competing ever since I was 4 years old, right. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since, and I love it. So I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
There's no judgment from your horse either. Right?
No, they are the most honest creatures in the entire world. And they don't judge you. They allowed me to be unapologetically me and grow into myself, and it was pretty amazing. They're amazing animals, and that's my Zane. I raised him since he was 6 months old. He was actually supposed to be my mom's horse, but she was terrified of him. So he's huge, and he turned out to be my horse. So.
Some people get their kids cats and dogs, but your mom gets you get your mom's
Well,
horse,
actually, so. I'm surprised I'm still alive because my first horse was a 3-year-old little.
Sorry.
3-year-old horse, and I was 5, and you fell in love with her because she was pretty. Yeah. So typically 3-year-old horses you don't buy for 5-year-old children. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you managed to make it through all of that. I mean, I don't even know if I could get on a horse right now. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because you had this great, this relationship with your horse. You were riding competitively, and you were in private school, but you were being bullied. Mm-hmm. So, while things were going great during these competitions, and you were, again, you loved Bruce, you had this passion and this wonderful experience, but you were being bullied. Mm-hmm. And can you really talk about that? I mean, you've talked openly about that, but that had to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, on a daily basis, ever since 4th grade, I was 4th through 8th grade, I was bullied pretty severely, and actually, I became, suicidal, and I just, every day of my life was the worst day of my life, and so I really struggled with that, and the barn was kind of like my escape, I was allowed to be me at the barn. So, I mean, it was the only thing that really kept me going was my horse. So yeah, I mean, that was a daily struggle of mine for sure.
And that was, you had to find the confidence somewhere, right? Because, you were being challenged by peers, but you found that through your riding.
And I mean, with the horses in competition, like that was totally different. That was like my alter ego, that was me up there. And, I had the confidence because I would practice every single day. I would ride every day. I was at the barn for 8 hours every day. And that was the only place where I was allowed to be me. And that was something that I felt that I was good at. It was the horse and it was me, and I would practice every day until it was perfect. I would drill myself. And even when I wasn't at the barn and I wasn't riding, I'd close my eyes and I'd practice this like visualization. So I would literally ride in my sleep, and I would make sure I would practice the cues and I would just drill myself until it was perfect. And I knew I had the confidence with the horses and the competing because I knew I was good at it. And that was the only thing I was good at. I wasn't so good at making friends.
Wow.
So, I didn't really have a lot of friends, so I wasn't confident in myself. So that was two completely different worlds for me. So the bond was home, competing was home. School was the battlefield.
But you were academically advanced, and you started, though, struggling with your grades because of the bullying. So you left private school for cyber school, where you rallied and graduated at the top of your class.
Okay.
Now, this is around the time that you started becoming a perfectionist. What happened?
Well, I mean, at school, like in private school, nobody really ever believed in me. Like the kids didn't, I didn't have any friends really. I was alone a lot. I ate lunch alone. I walked to class alone. I, dodged, the poking fun at every day and the laughters and the, things like that, and the mean jokes. The teachers didn't really believe in me. I just, I would do poorly on a test, and they didn't want to help me. So I was very different, and they didn't like that I didn't conform to their idea of their perfect student. So I left, went to cyber school, and I actually the fog was lifted. I had mental clarity. I didn't have any stress, and then I was actually able to, work on my grades and perform. I went to the office. My parents have their own business, so I went to the office. I had my own little cubicle, and I did my schoolwork there, and I just put my head down and just went for it and taught myself. And I felt like almost everything, the years and years. Sorry about that. The years and are we working now?
There we go.
We're still working. Okay. So the years and years that I missed, I made up. I felt like I had makeup for it somehow in those 9th, or 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And I ended up doing super well, and my teachers were really impressed with me, and I proved to myself, I finally proved to myself, hey, I can do this. I'm not a C student, I'm an A student, I'm 100%, I'm 105% student. So yeah, the mental clarity was there finally. And I wanted to touch a little bit on the perfectionist aspect of it. It's good to be a perfectionist, but at the same time, remember to not be so extreme that you have these blinders on, that you forget about the other facets of your life. Everything that I've done has been extreme. The horses and competing, I've been extreme. I didn't want to expose myself to anything else other than that. So I had no interest in anything else, in learning about any other thing other than the horses. It was the horses. And then it was bodybuilding. And then I was you know what? I don't care about jobs. I don't care about my career. I don't care. I still cared about school, because I was good at that. So when I came here, I was, still super 100% in school. But, I didn't care about anything else. I got married in the summer. I kind of was not. I was a good. I'm a good wife, right? I'm a really good wife. But I neglected some of my wife duties, spouse duties.
We all do.
And I was so focused on my food and my training, and I had no energy for anything else other than that, other than bodybuilding. So it's important to remember to chase perfection, but at the same time, not be so extreme that you forget about everything else in life. And I think that applies to a lot of things, to anything, whether it be, just anything in life. Anybody can take that away for sure.
Now, you've mentioned Bruce. You were 13 when your family got Bruce. And that was part of the favorite part of the commencement speech was about Bruce. So we're going to show a little bit of it right now. Okay.
I did have one love in life, though, and that was Bruce. Bruce is my horse. I wish he could be here today, but unfortunately, I couldn't manage to get him a ticket. I have been riding and showing horses since I was 4 years old, but when I was 13, a very special horse came into my life at the right time. I thought I was just getting a new show horse. He was all that, but came with a lot of baggage. Turns out, Bruce was abused and was scared of everyone except me. We immediately bonded. I remember escaping to the barn every day after school to brush Bruce and sit in his stall on his hay pile and cry where no one could see me. We would go off on long trail rides together. Bruce helped me to live in the moment. He listened to me, and I listened to him. He never judged or made fun of me. He was the shoulder I needed to cry on and I was the little girl he needed to love him. We showed each other that not everything in this world was cruel, so long as we had each other.
He helped you regain your confidence, didn't he?
Yeah.
And at 13, as we know, it's not an easy age
No.
for a teenage girl. So
He was the only thing that kept me going, you know. Like the days that I would think about just like, I don't want to get like too crazy, but the days that I would think about just like ending it all, you know, like I thought that horse is sitting in that stall, like, you know, what would he do? So, yeah.
you had Bruce, and you also had Zane, too. You had
Yep.
another horse that...
I still have him. Yeah, yeah, he's probably wondering where his mom is. I'm super busy. So. Zane's on the left and Bruce on the right.
Now, at some point you decided you wanted to stop training and showing horses professionally, and you wanted to really pursue your education, but you wanted to stay local, obviously, to be with your animals. Enter Penn State Lehigh Valley.
Yep.
And what was that transition like from cyber school to college campus?
It was scary because I still had like super social anxiety, but at the same time it was really exciting because nobody knew me. So like I was, you know, nobody knew my past. Everybody kind of was on like the same level playing field. You know, everybody was here at the same time. Like, you know, nobody really knew each other in general. So, you know, so it was like great opportunity to make new friends. And the professors were super nice. The kids were super nice. Like we were all here just trying to like figure out our way. Like we're done with high school. What are we gonna do for the rest of our now we have to figure out what we want to do for the rest of our working adult life. So, you know, so it was exciting. I was happy to be here, for sure.
We don't really forget the bullying, though. So even though that happened, you know, before cyber school and then before coming to Penn State Lehigh Valley, the competing and the bullying did catch up to you, and you decided to take advantage of the wonderful counseling service that we have here on campus. You saw Tammy Swincola. She's in the back. Let's give her a hand. Tammy's fantastic. And we always advise this to all of our students. As strong as you feel,
Do it.
you know, just go and talk to somebody. And Tammy suggested that, you know, you put all of your negative energy into something physical. And that's what you did. You started working out.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, although, you know, I was happy being here and I wasn't being bullied at Penn State, I was happy here, like, all those years kind of, like, compounded up, you know, and, like, I don't know, I just kind of regressed, and one day I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I would randomly just, like, break down and just, you know, I would feel like I was suffocating, and I would like, enter Center Hall, and I'd be like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. Like, all this pressure was so heavy on my chest. So one day I found myself just like stumbling down the hall. I'm like, where the heck is the guidance counselor's office? Like, I need to do this thing. Like, I need to go and see this Tammy lady. Everybody keeps talking about this Tammy lady. So I did, and that was like the best decision ever. But you know, she asked me one day, I remember a question she asked me, she goes, so like, what sets your soul on fire? And I was like, I don't know, you know, I don't want to train horses for a living anymore, so I don't know what my purpose is, because like I said, I was super, super extreme, so I never wanted to like explore any other options. So all I knew growing up was the horses. So that was another reason why I was there, because I was like, you know, what am I doing for the rest of my life? Like, I'm here at college going for my business degree, but not really knowing what I'm doing and what I'm applying this to. And I'm a super like planner, so like I want to know what I'm doing next week at like 9:43 in the morning, what I'm eating like 2 months down the road. Like so obviously, naturally, I would like to know exactly what I'm doing for the rest of my adult life. So that was another like super stressful thing, and I would make all these scenarios like my miserable, unproductive, you know, life, and how I was never going to make anything of myself, and that was like really stressful for me. So I went and saw Tammy, and she was, you know, she said, well, like maybe we should, you know, try doing something that, you know, you could put this negative energy into something. So, you know, and at the time too, I also ate like total garbage, you know, hello fast food life, you know, like 5 times a day drive through, like, you know, Dunkin' Donuts is great, you know, pizza's awesome. And I think I really felt like that really started negatively affecting like how I was feeling physically too, and also like mentally. I think nutrition has a lot to do with that. So, I was seeing doctors, and doctors were saying, oh, well, you have joint pain, so let's, put you on some prednisone. Maybe that'll make you feel better. I'm like, what the heck? I'm going on prednisone. So, okay, I guess, I'll go on prednisone. So I was taking this medication. They wanted to test me for rheumatoid arthritis. Not saying, hey, let's take a look at like your physical, let's take a look at like your fitness, let's take a look at your nutrition. Doctors were also suggesting antidepressants because I just couldn't deal with myself and like deal with like everyday life. So then Tammy suggested let's put your energy into something, something physical. Let's put this negative energy into something. So I was like scrolling on Facebook one day and I saw this challenge, this PiYo challenge. So it's through Beachbody. It's like Pilates and yoga mixed with a little cardio and like cleaning up your diet for 60 days. So it's a 60 days challenge. You were part of this like group, Facebook group, and you like would work with these ladies, and you would all like make this progress together. So it's great. So I did that. I felt so much better. Like the joints stopped hurting. Like the depression and the anxiety were like coming back. Like they were going away. I was feeling great. And then like the 60 days were up, and I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? Like there's no more challenge. There's no more diet, there's no more exercises, and like the DVDs are over. It was an at-home DVD thing. Like the DVDs are over. What do I do? So then Gold's Gym is right down the road from the house, and so I stepped foot in the gym, and I was like, okay, so maybe I should like start picking things up and putting them down. I want some more. So I went there and found a trainer. Got really strong, and then he was like, hey, so. You have a really nice shape, have you ever thought of competing? And I was like, well, no, not really. Like, I'm just doing this to feel better about myself. I never thought about competing. So then I go home that night, I pull up YouTube, and I was like, bikini bodybuilding competition. And I'm like, well, this is weird. I'm like, everybody's on stage in like weird sparkly bikinis and heels and like costume jewelry. Like, this is kind of weird, but I kind of like this. I'm like, I think I could do this. I could do this, I competed before. I could do this. Sure. So, now it's like 4:00 in the morning at this point, and I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do? I'm like, okay, Victor, we're doing this. Like, I go to my trainer. I'm like, we're doing this thing.
Because not many people go to the gym and then start entering bodybuilding.
No. Usually it's like years and years and years of progression. But like, hello, extremist in my mind. I'm like, so now I have to compete.
Of course.
Of course. I'm not going to like take these years and years to progress. I'm just going to jump right into it. Like, I have wheelbarrow muscles and like shoveling muscles.
Exactly.
So, right. So then I entered my first competition like 2 months later, and I won, and I was like, oh, hey, I like winning. So then I did it again. I won again. I went to nationals. I got third at nationals, and I was like, okay, well, I didn't win, but I'm like, oh, God, okay, I didn't win, but I'll do it next time. I'll win next time. So then take it off season, and actually win again, go to nationals, get 4th place. I needed to get 1st or 2nd to get my professional card, my pro card. Got 4th. So then I was like, okay, I'm automatically qualified because I got first call-outs. Went to nationals again. Had like, for some reason, just had no confidence coming into this competition. But I like plastered this big smile on my face and like totally faked it. And I like went up there and I was like, I'm going to pull out this crazy like Barbie doll like personality and just go up there and just kill it. So I did, and then I won my class. And then I had to go and get the top of with nationals to get your pro card. There were 8 height classes, and I think there were like 500 girls in this competition. And so you had to get the top 4 out of the 8 height class winners. And I actually ended up getting one of the top 4, and then it was the overall pose down, and then they decided like whoever won, the overall. And then they called my number, and I was like, who? I'm like, wait, what's my number? I'm like, oh my gosh, I just won the overall. I just won this whole darn thing. So, so that was really cool. But so that was kind of like when it all happened for me. And then I entered the pro league, and that was like a whole different beast. You know, it was like, now it's girls that were like stepping on the Olympia stage in the Olympics, and I was competing against all of them. And it was like, so now I'm like not the big fish anymore. Like I'm like the teeny fish in the ocean. And it was a little intimidating, and I got my butt handed to me up on that stage, and but it was okay though, because I came back like hungrier to just do better. And I got my butt kicked again, and then I got my butt kicked again, and then but I kept getting better. I kept getting my butt kicked a little less every time.
Right. It's a good.
But it taught me though that winning isn't everything. It taught me to not, because I was still, at this time, I'm still neglecting the other aspects of my life. It taught me to take the blinders off and understand that there are other aspects of my life that need to be worked on. Competition isn't everything. Competition's not going to pay the bills. At best, it's like a glorified hobby. It's a really great like hobby to have, and it's going to be, something that you can use like it's a stepping stone. So yeah, I needed to improve, my career. I needed to work on this business. I needed to, work on the family business. And so it kind of like a blessing in disguise, really, was, yeah.
So it sounds like you had, a lot of success. You were winning and everything, but you had been given poor, dangerous nutritional advice from coaches. So of course, that's not good.
No.
This led to physical illness, a distorted body image. How did you find your path to, health and nutrition?
For sure. I mean, it started out, being something to make me feel better about myself, and then it almost ended up like doing the exact opposite. So, even though I was so super lean and so conditioned, like at this competition, this is where I won my pro card. At this competition, I was somewhere around like 6% body fat. So, I mean, I was tiny. Like I looked bigger in pictures. Like this was actually after like I binge ate like burger and fries and stuff. So
we all look like that after we eat burgers and fries, don't we?
So I'm a little. So yeah, that was like the day after the competition. Usually, like the night of the competition, you're like, "What am I gonna eat? I'm gonna eat everything," So this was after that, but it actually like ended up doing the opposite. So it gave me this awful body image. Like I would look in the mirror, I wasn't happy with the mirror. Like even though I was in the best physical shape of my life, like I would gain a pound, I'd freak out, I'd step on the scale like every day of my life, and if I gained a half a pound, I was like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I wasn't satisfied. But as far as like the nutritional advice goes, like a lot of the industry, like social media, I think has ruined everything. Everybody is, like a professional, like just because you stepped on stage or you have your pro card, like qualifies people as a coach and a trainer and to like take people's health into their own hands. So I blame a lot of it on me. Like I didn't do my homework, so it was my own fault that I like fell into this crazy trap, like eating 1,000 calories a day, doing 2 hours of cardio a day plus lifting. That's insane, and it got to the point where it was super, super unhealthy.
Right. You weren't the only one though, because you went on social media, you went on Instagram, you saw other people were going through the same thing.
Oh yeah, every day I see it. I'm not much of a social media person. Like I'm not on it all the time because I'm like super busy and it's like a time suck. But like the time that I do go on social media, I'll scroll and I'll be like, oh my God, what is this girl doing? Oh my gosh, like she's doing what she was doing what I'm doing, or what I was doing. And I feel for them because I've been through that, and I see people like posting pictures of themselves and like almost looking for other people to tell them that they're good enough, and I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. Like you need to clap for your own self and take your health into your hands and do your homework and realize that there's a healthier way to do it, and then there's a not so healthy way to do it. And unfortunately, I want to say like 95% of the girls out there are doing it in a very unhealthy way, and I'm hoping to be that, that interception there and teach other girls and use this as a platform to teach other girls like, hey, I can eat like normal human food and still achieve my goals. I don't have to starve myself. I'm a pro. I don't have to starve myself to get on stage. That's not the way to do it. So
that's led us here to where we are today.
Yeah.
So you realized that you wanted to talk to this audience about the same challenges, the same advice, the same bad advice. That kind of motivated you to start your own business.
Yes.
And to apply for the microgrant through Lehigh Valley Lanchbox. Talk
Yes.
about that.
For sure. I mean, like I said, I mean, the answer's kind of the same. It was just, you know, I wanted to be that interception. I didn't want to see other people go through this. And then it kind of evolved, like, I wanted to go away from the whole competition aspect of it because it's pretty, like, the competition aspect's pretty intense. And then I started seeing, like, a lot of people would come up to me on a daily basis asking me, like, hey, what can I do, you know, to, like, just, like, tone this up, you know, or what can I do to, like, tone this up?
Yeah.
So, and I realized that there was, like, a huge need for, you know, good nutritional advice. And even, like, the stuff on the web, like, even if you just type in, like, how to lose weight, the advice out there is actually kind of insane. You know, it's like, it's not, there's so many myths out there and so many misconceptions about health and fitness, and especially women's health and fitness, because women are very, like, a lot of the studies are done on men, because there's just more men in fitness, but where in reality is, like, women, there's a lot, women are a different breed for sure, you know, and, you know, hormonally, like, in every aspect. So yeah, I really wanted to just start helping, like, the everyday person too, you know, realize and, like, help them read a nutrition label. Like, it's amazing how many people just don't know how to read a nutrition label and translate that into their everyday needs. So that's what kind of motivated me to reach out to the Lanchbox.
So you used your grant to become certified as a nutritionist and
Yep.
a personal trainer. Your business model, though, has moved away from your original goal, and you wanted to coach and train competitors.
Yes. Yeah.
But now you're focusing on more of lifestyle coaching and meal planning. I like the aspect that you're doing it for families and children, which is very important. Can you talk a little bit about Fresh View Fitness, you know, moving forward, your new plans for it?
Well, I think it really starts at a young age. Like, education starts at a young age. And I think there's, like, a course, which I never took in school. It was more of, like, an elective. It's, what is it, like, homemaking or something? And I think that's where, you know, that shouldn't be like an elective. That should be, like, you know, that should be required. Kids should understand about nutrition and making good choices. You know, at lunchtime, you know, yeah, that pizza and pasta looks pretty darn good, but, you know, is that going to fuel you for the rest of the day? Is that a healthy choice? You know, and then the obesity epidemic is just kind of absolutely insane, you know, amongst children, especially amongst youth. And I think that they're not educated, and a lot of the times, like, their parents really don't know, you know, well, they ate a salad for lunch. Well, yeah, it was drenched in Caesar dressing, you know, like, did they have any protein on it, you know, and I really think that kids could do a lot better in everyday life, in school, if, you know, if their nutrition was on point too. And I would really like to start working with kids in youth groups that way, and maybe, like, family consulting too. Like, there's so much that could be done with this. That I just need to channel into, you know, what my vision for Fresh View Fitness is, because there's just so much.
And I'd trust you more than I would trust the internet. We saved this last because your story is compelling, but we do want to give a shout out because you come from an entrepreneurial background. You kind of grew up in it. Give a shout out to Lily David Embroidery in Allentown. It is one of the largest contract embroidery providers in the region.
Yeah.
So you grew up as the child of entrepreneurs, and you've worked at your family business your entire life. So throughout everything that you've done, horses and you've also worked for your mom and your dad. That's really molded your entrepreneurial path.
Yep, there it is in all her glory. And yeah, it's actually the largest in the nation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and if you go into this place, it has jackets and T-shirts and hats and everything that you can embroider on anything.
Yep.
You can walk away there.
We can get it out of the machine. We can do it.
We went into the back room with all the sewing equipment. It was great. Not everybody has that, you could say. Not everybody has parents that were, you know, entrepreneurs, started their own business. But you probably have looked at what your parents have done and seen them so successful. Look, your mom's right there. She's like, give us, you know, some kind of, you know. But that's probably been very, very helpful for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know any other way is the thing. So, like, a 9 to 5 to me was weird.
Right.
Because, you know, Dad got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and went in, and Mom came home at 10 o'clock at night, and, like there was no 9 to 5.
Right.
So, my brother actually works in the business too, and he has a few of his own businesses as well as
Right.
the family business. And then I just watched my dad like work his butt off, and I grew up, or I was, born on Gordon Street. We had a house or a factory, and we lived in the loft apartment, and the factory was down on the first floor. So I watched the business go from that to one of the largest in the nation, and just watched my dad put his head down and work. And actually, it's kind of funny because my dad comes from, he was the man of the household. Like his mom raised him. He was the man of the household. So he never really had a childhood. He had to grow up really fast, and he had to make it for his family. And Grandma was like super tough love, and she also raised me too. Like, you had to just know that you did a good job, and like there were no parties thrown for you. Like when you did a good job,
Right,
there was
right,
no like, yeah, you did great.
Right.
No, there were no like parties. You never got an award. It
Right.
was like, okay,
That was
keep
it.
going.
Yeah.
We need more money. Like we need to put food on the table. Like there's
Right.
no parties. So I really learned from that to like clap for my own self, and just just know that I like wake up and just know that I'm going to do the best job that I can, every day, and just work my butt off. And like watching my dad, I just knew that, if you believed and you worked hard enough, like your possibilities and your potential, your growth potential is totally limitless. And that was something that I really learned. And like with my mom, like she came with the creative side. Like the creative side came to me from her. She taught me, if you couldn't afford it, if you didn't have it and you wanted it, we were going to make that happen. One way or another, it was going to happen. So I remember with my competition bikini, my first competition bikini, like the one that I wanted was like $2,500. And it was crazy. It's like this, seriously, it's like this much fabric. Like there's this much fabric on this thing, but it's encrusted in Swarovski crystals, okay? So that's where the money comes from.
That's where it's expensive.
So we bought a plain one, like with no crystals on it, for like $150, and then we went and researched all these crystal companies. We bought the loose stones, and for 2 months over the summer, I hand glued one by one each crystal on this darn bikini. And I went on stage, and my bikini was the sparkliest bikini up there, and it probably cost us between the crystals and
That's
the
great.
bikini, it was like $300.
You did it.
And we did it, but that's like what she taught me though. Like if you couldn't afford it, if you didn't have it, and you wanted it, you made it, you found a way to make it happen.
Resourceful.
So, and
All
she's
right.
she's amazing. She's so
Thank you,
cool.
Mom.
So if I grow up to be half the woman she is, I will be very grateful. She's the best mom in the world.
Oh. We could sit here and talk to Paige all day, couldn't we? Put your orders in for your crystal bikini, too, to Mom right there. Although you might have to put on your own crystals. We hope that everybody, just because Paige has this entrepreneurial background, she had help from her parents up here. They helped her, and they gave her strength and said, you can do this. But I hope that the other entrepreneurs out here, take the energy, that negative energy, turn it into something positive. And also, like Paige, consider Lehigh Valley Lanchbox in your startup journey. Thank you, Paige, so much for sharing
Thank you
your
so
story.
much for
Thank you,
having me.
Bruce.